All right. Isaiah chapter 6, and why I'm in the Song of Solomon. Anyway, Wednesday night was incredible, much appreciated, so much a blessing, and the gift was just outstanding. And I appreciated all of it. Okay, Isaiah chapter 6, starting in verse 1. It says, in the year of that king Uzziah died, and I saw the Lord sitting upon a throne high and lifted up, and on his train filled the temple. And above it stood the seraphim, one on each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered the face, and twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, 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 it is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then I said, Woe is me, for I am unclean. I am undone, because I am an unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphim unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he said unto me, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, he hath touched my lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. I also heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and whom will go for me? Then said I, Here am I, send me. So, the Lord God, he saw him in heaven. He had a vision, and he saw the Lord personally. That had an impact on him. And he immediately surrendered to the Lord. And when the Lord calls us, we must answer that call.
Amen.
We must,
Amen.
Without hesitation, or ask where or why. Isaiah didn't. Later on in this discord, he asked how long, but he never asked where, why me. Never said that. He has a plan, and we must allow him to fulfill that plan in our life. And he utilizes us to fill his plans, and through us, it's his plan, and therefore it's perfect plan. Takes us sometimes to realize, a long time to realize that it's a perfect plan. And the flesh might push against it, but we shouldn't let the flesh overcome the Spirit, and the Spirit calling us to do what the Lord wants us to do. We can't push back on that. Sometimes we have to leave our comfort zone, and the ones we love, Isaiah did. A lot of those prophets left the ones they loved, and they served the Lord, and many of them prosecuted because of it, and even killed. But they did what the Lord called them to do. If we claim to be his servants, we must serve according to his will.
Amen.
Also, let's look in Acts chapter 17. I think I'm supposed to go forward instead of backward on that. Book of Acts, chapter 17. Let's look at verse 22 in Acts 17. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, I'm not in the right one, am I? Yeah.
There you are.
And said, Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious, too religious. Religion doesn't rule us. The Lord does.
Amen.
And then I ended up in the wrong. Let's go to Acts 22. done wrong. Actually, 21, sorry. Acts 21, verse 17. Says, and when we come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. Then let's skip down to 27. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up the people and laid hands on him. And I'm still not where I'm supposed to be. Don't you hate when you get your notes wrong? So anyway, we know Paul was on his way to Jerusalem, and he called in the elders of the church at Ephesus to say goodbye to them, and they begged him not to go, and some thought that he was going because Paul wanted to, some thought that that was the Lord's will for him to go. That's still up in the air, but anyway, they met him there, and he encouraged them to preach the word and be an encouragement and be steady in preaching the word. And then as he went on, others met him. He stayed at the house of Philip, and others tried to talk him out of going, but finally in the end, they said, okay, the Lord's will be done. And God be with you. So that's my devotional this morning, and y'all pray that the Lord will be with me.
Amen.